you're interested in applying to NUS Medicine but haven't really had the time to research the multi-step admissions process, don't worry, my name is Jeremiah, a recently accepted student at NUS Medicine, and in today's video I promise you'll walk away with a better understanding of the entire process, which first has the application stage, then the assessment stage, and then the final offer acceptance stage. The first thing you have to decide is what type of application do you want to submit. There are two types. The first is the standard admissions pathway, and the second is the aptitude-based admissions pathway, or ABAS for short. Candidates applying under the standard admissions pathway are choosing to be selected based purely on your academic merit. In other words, the school will shortlist you for the interview round purely based on your rank point, your GPA, or your IB score. They do not consider your portfolio for the shortlisting to the second round. They only look at the portfolio amidst the second round. On the other hand, ABAS candidates are evaluated on the basis of their exceptional achievements, talents, in addition to their academic results. In other words, you'll be considered alongside your portfolio plus your grades for the second round. However, it is important to note that ABAS candidates are first considered alongside the standard admissions pathway candidates. In other words, all candidates are considered under the standard admissions pathway. If your grades meet the cutoff for medicine, then you'll just be shortlisted under the standard admissions pathway and wouldn't be considered for aptitude-based. Only if your score does not meet the cutoff for medicine, then you'll proceed to be considered under the aptitude-based admission scheme. So this means that you could have applied under the aptitude-based admission scheme, but not be shortlisted to the second round under the aptitude-based admission scheme. If you were to ask me, I don't think there's any real downside to ABAS, especially if you're not 100% confident about your academic score. Even if you're confident that you're within the cutoff range, the cutoff scores do change every year. This was my thought process when applying, as I did apply under the ABAS. I do not know till today whether I was shortlisted for the second round under aptitude-based or standard admissions pathway, because it doesn't matter. All that matters is you make it to the second round. The school lists 4 different Singapore-based academic qualifications. The first is the Singapore A level, and the general requirements are that you must have taken a H2 chemistry alongside another H2 science, so whether it's biology or physics, it does not matter. The cutoff can be viewed from the indicative grade profile, which NUS publishes every year on their website. Although for the 90th and 10th percentile, they do show 4 A's quite consistently for medicine, but I've seen online that the cutoff is roughly around 87.5 every year. Don't really take my word for it, do your own research, because I don't even know how the computation works. The second is the polytechnic diploma, but there is a list of accredited diplomas, aka only select diplomas that are usually related to life science or healthcare can apply to medicine. The cutoffs are slightly easier for polytechnic students because it does actually show a GPA range, and for 2021, the 10th to 90th percentile are from 3.82 to 3.99. However, do note that this cutoff does include the aptitude-based admission scores, so it's not the official cutoff, it just gives you a range of the full spectrum of students that NUS Medicine accepted. The final 2 qualifications are the IB Diploma and the NUS High School Diploma. The requirements are largely similar with HL Chemistry and HL in another science, so bio or physics, and for NUS High, you do have to have a major cap of 2.0 in at least Chem and another science, plus a cap of at least 1.0 in another major and English program and research project, but then again, just check the website because all the official information are there. There are 4 aspects to the NUS Medicine portfolio, and whether you apply under the standard admissions or aptitude-based, you do have to submit the exact same information. The first thing is a list of up to your 10 best achievements over the last 2 or 3 years. This can be anything from academic to non-academic, to volunteering, internships, leadership, CCAs, competitions. Just put it in, so long as you feel like it's relevant to medicine and it's your best achievements. There is an official document provided by NUS which shows the format of which you have to input this information on the website. It typically just has a brief description of what the activity was, your start date, end date, your role in that project, the project nature. If you're curious on what I included in my 10 best achievements, I actually made an entire video about it right here, but you can check it out later. The second is a 500-word personal statement, and you can think about it as a self-introduction to the examiner or interview on the day, and it's centered around what shaped your desire to study medicine, essentially your why medicine story. Please spend a lot of time on writing this personal statement, vetting through it, reading through it, getting opinions from other people, because I think it's such an important part of your application. It really helps you to stand out amongst all the other talented candidates that are all equally deserving of applying to medicine. I know that the rather loose prompt of why medicine can sound a little scary, and we fall into this trap of thinking that our cliche reasons are not good enough, whether it's I like science or like helping people. But whatever that story is, it does not matter because it's your story. We just have to trust that our genuine story is enough to convince the admissions committee to take us in. The third thing is an official school testimonial which provides an insight into your academic ability as well as your character. Usually your counselors, principal, or form teacher writes this. My course chair wrote mine. This form does require an official school letterhead, so it does take time to get that. Prepare this in advance, but this will probably be the easiest part of your entire application, so don't worry about it. The last thing you need in your portfolio are 2 referee reports, and you can nominate anyone that should know you well, except for family members. I had my course chair as well as my internship mentor to write mine, but all you need is their contact info, so their full name, email, and mobile number. You just put it into the NUS website, but do be careful here. Once you put it into the medicine website, it will send an email immediately to these people. So firstly, make sure that you've chose the right person and that you put in the right information. And once they send it to them, they will include a report that comes in an email, of which they have to fill it online, like an online questionnaire. To make things fun, you can actually find this referee report online, so you can look through it or send it to your referee in advance so they can start thinking through the questions. Some of the more interesting questions are, what would you say are the applicant's weaknesses? Why do you think the applicant would or would not make a good doctor? Would you want this applicant to look after your loved ones? So these are some tough-hitting questions, but if you ask the right person, they should have no problem writing this about you. It would be quite bad if they wrote, I don't think this person can be a good doctor. And the pro tip here is I recommend that you keep a record of everything you've done. The most menial thing to the largest project you've done over the 2 or 3 years. It is important because, for one, you can send it to your referee or the person that's writing your school testimonial, so they have an easy reference of what you've done, so they can describe you in greater detail. It's also good for yourself because when you're writing your personal statement, it helps you form reflections that can give you insights into why do you want to study medicine. Once you've submitted your portfolio and the relevant information, all you can really do is wait to be shortlisted for the second round. They'll usually inform you over text, and the second round is known as the NUS Medicine Admissions Assessment, and there are 2 components to it, and usually happens from the last week of March to mid-April. The first is a situational judgment test, which is a 60-minute test which evaluates yourself on some hypothetical medical school scenarios, and based on what you answer, the school will determine whether your values align with the school. There is no real right or wrong answers to these questions, and do not really worry about this test. There's no much preparation you can do for it. The school does send you an information packet prior to this test, so you go through the format of the questions so they can get used to it. I will caution against searching online for SJT practice papers because a large number of them are from the UK, and the ones from the UK are typically done after you graduate from medical school. It includes quite a bit about UK law, but you can just try them out to get a flow of the questions and know about the time management. The second is a focus skills assessment, which is essentially the interview round. There are 5 to 7 stations, and there'll be 4 types of stations. The first is a role play station with a trained actor and an interviewer assessing how you engage with the actor. The second is a task-based station which gives you tasks to complete within a time frame. The third is a group station with 3 to 5 other candidates and you have to complete an objective. The last one is an interview station with an interviewer which will draw out your motivations to study medicine. It'll almost be impossible to find any more information than this, which is provided on the school's website, because all candidates sign an NDA, but my honest advice is to stay calm. I know how nervous you'll be on that day, trust me, we all were, I definitely was, but I guess the trick is to reframe your thinking. Don't think about the interviewer as this person that is trying to kick you out and doing everything they can to prevent you from getting in. You must have fun, and think of it as the interviewer wanting you to succeed, but only if your motivations is really to study medicine. And most importantly, I think it's comforting for all candidates to know once you've been shortlisted to this second round, which includes the 2 components, your grades do not matter anymore. What determines whether you'll get into medical school is based on the results from these 2 components. You just go out there and do your best. Doesn't matter if you got all A's or you didn't get all A's, everyone's on equal footing now and everyone has an equal shot. Alright, and let's end off the video with some admin matters. The first is the website that you use to apply. There are 2 websites. The first is the main NUS application website. Then there's a second medical school website, which you submit your portfolio, so the 4 components that we mentioned. The typical process is you first submit your application on the main NUS website. You have to indicate medicine within your first 2 options, and with your application number that you get, you put it into the medicine portal, and from there you apply and submit the relevant documents. The second is the timeline of your application, of which for the main NUS application on the NUS portal, you have to base it on your academic qualifications. So for IB students, it's typically from October all the way to February, and then for poly students, it's the first 3 weeks of Feb, and then for A-level students, it's usually a few days after your A-level results come out. There's a separate deadline for the medicine website to submit your portfolio. Typically for ABAS students, you have to submit your portfolio as well as ensure that your referees submit their reports by early March. For standard students, you have a little more time with about mid-March to submit your portfolio and about an additional week to submit your referee report, so making sure that they submit their reports. Again, do check out the websites yearly because the dates can change, and obviously we want to be on top of our deadlines. To end off on a high note, every year NUS Medicine receives about 2,000 applications, with 1,200 getting shortlisted, then with 280 being offered, with the subsequent 70 placed on a reserve list. The offers start to come out from late April to early May, although for the past 2 years it has come out on May the 4th, aka Star Wars Day. But as you so eagerly wait for that day to come, trust me, it might be one of the best days of your life. We have to start putting in the work today, especially with the portfolio, so click on this video right here to see how I did it and how I recommend you do it. See you there.